These were the links we used. And yeah.
Alright, so we will enter the Q&A portion now.
Sure, I have a quick question. You mentioned the zoning and changes to the zoning.
Yep.
What are the current zoning restrictions?
So it's not so like there's restrictions, it's, let me try to go back. So when we looked at the Bloomfield Hills like zoning ordinances, we were like looking at the specific forms and we were like, wait a minute, why should it cost $10,000 for you to make a slight change to your property? And there's a lot of like sneaky laws in place, which we feel that Bloomfield Hills kind of milk the money out of local businesses trying to expand. And there's a lot of really sneaky fees that like repel entrepreneurs from trying to expand on here.
And a lot of the reason of that is because the history of Bloomfield Hills is kind of rooted in the wealthy families that came from the industrial area of Detroit, so they're a little bit more conservative in the sense they want to keep the traditional like residential areas just as a wealthy retirement home, and just like keep it like that. So
Yeah, it's not so much as there's like not land to go or as there's like a low supply, it's just like the amount of fees required to process and the amount of like time it would take just repels like potential local businesses from coming here.
So hurdles to change.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So I have a question. You identify this gap in the age group of people that are not in the population in Bloomfield Hills. Average house price in Bloomfield Hills is rather prohibitive for somebody who's, you know, in their 20s, 30s, 40s. What kind of proposals would you have for providing housing that this age group can afford? I mean, there's not a lot of multifamily rental housing. It's like 90% owner occupied in Bloomfield Hills. I looked it up. So where are they gonna live?
Well, currently like
With mom?
well, currently like in Bloomfield Hills, like a lot of these people actually commute outside of the city to find work. So like, yeah, short-term solution, yeah, they like the housing price, they're exorbitant. Like I don't think like any of our families could like afford to live like really well here. But as time goes on and more of these like real estate developers can find that, oh, you know, we got rid of these like zoning laws. Oh, there's breaks to like expand our community. Oh, there's like funding to make the community better. Then more and more like cheaper real estate will come in. And yes, that might reduce the property value, but overall it'll enrich the cultural diversity of Bloomfield Hills.
yeah, and there really isn't a silver bullet kind of solution. If you look at the map of Bloomfield Hills, I mean, it's quite small. 4,000 people. I mean, most of it is like a lot of land from Cranbrook, golf courses, and also like the more richer neighborhoods. So a lot of the things regarding like the property taxes, giving like certain tax breaks in the region can certainly help, but it's quite difficult to do like a grassroots solution to this problem that's been happening.
So to answer your question, yes, they would have to commute outside of the city for now. But over time, we hope that more ventures in expanding like commercial properties and local businesses will help also introduce more maybe apartment complexes or other property like areas where they can settle in the future.
So you want 20-year-olds to invest in businesses in Bloomfield Hills and live someplace else until they can afford a $900,000 house? Or do you want people, you're talking about people in Bloomfield Hills live elsewhere?
Wait,
I think
sorry.
that one. I think the second part. I think they're saying right now a lot of people work in Bloomfield Hills, or live in Bloomfield Hills, but work
You live in
elsewhere.
Bloomfield Hills and you work someplace else,
Yeah.
but if you've got this age gap of people who don't live in Bloomfield Hills, like, how do you get them? Like, how do you get them to live in Bloomfield Hills? How do you fill out your age matrix?
Oh, so as more local businesses like expand in the region, we're hoping that like over time, like more people start to settle in because they already have founded like businesses in this area.
I know you guys talked about beautification for your area.
Yep.
Would you guys be beautifying in specific?
Yeah, specifically, beautification, I guess, one, it's like keeping the current status quo of preserving the landscape, but it's more of like marketing this kind of history to the other places, because we want to make it more attractive to the young investors that are coming into the region, right, through things like advertising it as a city full of rich history and culture. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. The beautification is just kind of keeping the status quo of the money we're currently spending into these places like the gardens, for example, in the center you can see, and the lakes and stuff.
Thing is, if we reduce funding for beautification and pour all into like industrial like property development, that will lose the allure of Bloomfield Hills itself, and we definitely don't want to like have that. And not just maintain the status quo, but also there's some roads that are undeveloped in areas of Bloomfield Hills, and we would like to like contribute some funds to that to make transportation much easier.
So I'm talking more of beautification versus investment or in development of more natural areas, because Bloomfield has no public parks. So I was trying to think more of what you guys would be like beautifying if there's not much to beautify in the first place.
Well, yeah, sure, of course, like, as we said before, keeping the status quo of preserving it is good, and then also the beautification is gonna be with regards to like giving more public social interaction and access to social areas like you stated, parks, right? So that's kind of the second part of it. I mean, it's all interconnected, right? One is businesses, two is like the landscape, and three is like the social kind of interactions. And park is one of those that goes under the development of that social aspect.
Any further questions?
You have 2 minutes.
I guess I've got one going more towards the beginning of your presentation when you talked about the economic situation in Michigan and in general. You guys highlighted a lot of issues that Michigan is currently facing. Can you guys point to any positive things that they're doing well or that is going well currently in the economy?
Well, I mean, in these same papers, they forecasted that, you know, hopefully over like this like stagnating period, job growth would continue to accelerate. But I mean, I hate to be the pessimist, but especially with these like Trump tariffs coming in that are gonna especially like make auto parts hard to get, especially since we ship so much from Canada, and the food industry coming from Mexico and Canada, it's kind of hard to be optimistic when all these costs are rising. So I'm sorry I can't like provide like an optimistic outlook. But hopefully with our plan to like shape Bloomfield Hills, and maybe it could be adopted like in Michigan as like a whole, like making it more alluring place to get, maybe we can start to reverse some of these changes. Especially the fact that we're too reliant on the auto industry. We want economic diversification.
And all you guys proposed zoning is quite expensive, bars, country clubs, etc. Is there anything you guys would possibly propose for more general use for all people? And then what are the like benefits and negatives for each kind of zoning?
You do not have to answer because you only have 15 seconds.
Oh,
So that
we
one.
can't answer in time. Sorry.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you.